Shalom Aleichem, holy friends, wherever you are in the world. We are a couple of days before Matan Torah, before Shavuot. You know, you could tell how special and how great a day or an event is by how much the preparation and the lead up. Something very important requires hours of preparation and meditation. It's more important, it may require days. This is the only mitzvah that we have 7 weeks of preparation for. 7 weeks where Am Yisrael counts the days. We don't just count the days. We know that these days correspond to the Sfirot. Even people that don't normally dabble in Kabbalistic matters these days, talking about Chesed and Gvura and Chesed Shebechesed, all these things, unbelievable. "49 days of preparation. This is the longest preparation in the cycle of the year that we have for anything, for receiving the Torah. And as we always say, and we'll say this again, it's very important to remember, Am Yisrael is not a nation or a religion or whatever you want to call it that celebrates history. We're not stuck in history commemorating the Exodus. That's not what our Yamim Tovim and our Chagim are. Same we say in Chanukah and Purim, Bayamim Ahem Bazman Hazeh. The Ari HaKadosh teaches us that the cycle of the year that goes around is connected to how the world is healed, how the Sfirot are healed. And every year we return to the same stations and experience the revelation of the Creator that happened at that time. And through this revelation, we bring light into our life, in our world, in our dimension right now, where we are, and in the higher worlds that are corresponding to what's happening right now. In other words, the mitzvot are not historic points. The mitzvot are happening right now. So we are right now standing in the Shloshet Yemei Hagbala. Years ago, our whole nation stood in the desert awaiting the giving of the Torah by the Borei Olam. And so are we today, wherever we find ourselves, in Mexico or in New York, or it doesn't make a difference where you are. In our heart, in our mind, in our being, we are purifying ourselves. We are focusing on our personalities, refining them, making them more godly, thus preparing ourselves to receive the Torah. The time that we're in, the months that we're in, Sfirat HaOmer starts on Nisan, continues through the whole month of Iyar, and then Sivan. We know that Nisan in the calendar, in the zodiac, which is from the Kabbalah, Nisan is Taleh. It's a ram, it's a sheep. And Iyar is a shor, is an ox. Sivan is Tomim, that's a human. And this process of becoming, of man evolving, starts the same way when we're kids. We're born with an animal soul, with a basic vital soul. That's what we know of ourselves. We're not yet connected to grand godly concepts and agendas. We're children, we're physical beings, and as we evolve, we study more, and we are aware more of the world, of the responsibility that we have as a man. And then we refine our personalities and our character. The point, the essence, the goal is to get to Adam. Adam, which loosely translates to man, is not just a word. A human being has a nefesh be'emit and a nefesh elokit, an animal soul and a godly soul. And this is the battle that man experiences his whole life, the duality, the double vision. where the animal, the basic soul that he has, wants survival, wants pleasure, wants ego, wants recognition, wants honor. And the godly soul has nothing in his mind but only to promote the godly agenda, and the struggle between them is our life. When man understands and gives victory and gives kingship to the Adam, to the right way of being, then he's called that he reached maturity. Adam, Aleph Daled Mem, which is Gematria 45, is also the same numerical value of Gematria of Geula. Geula. Geula is redemption. This, in a certain sense, is redemption also on a private matter. A human being that's stuck in his selfish, immature behavior is acting, in a sense, like an animal, a human animal. Just me and I and my needs, and all I could see is myself. I can't see anything else. The same way an animal. It's not negative, it's not bad, but that's not what you were created for. When a human being is able to open up his eyes and broaden his horizons and understand the mission of life and the unique place of man, and he takes upon himself these behaviors and he breaks his nature and he gets up even though it's hard for him, and he's quiet in an argument even though it's hard for him, and he gives tzedakah even though it's hard for him, and he says brachot, and he doesn't refrain from eating certain foods even though it's difficult for him, and on Shabbat keep Shabbat and b'chulu, and he studies Torah when it's difficult for him. Because he understands, he gives precedence to this Adam. This man is being redeemed. He's marching towards redemption. He's walking towards Geula. And he's becoming Adam, Geula. And this is the process that Am Yisrael through these days went through in the desert, and we're going through today. These 49 days, there are so much to talk about in them, but one of the aspects is that there is 49 is Gematria Lev Tov. Lev Tov means a good heart.
Es un rabino, ¿viste? Escúchalo. Mamá, escucha el rabino.
Only after a human being refines his personality, then the Torah could rest in him. And this is something that we have to, we say Derech Eretz Kadma Torah. Derech Eretz is a prerequisite. Derech Eretz means a person becoming a mensch, in Yiddish they say, a mensch. It's a general word, but really it's a human being rising above his smallness and becoming big. Not being stuck on your ego, on the me, and having the ability to let go of it. Not focusing on chasing my body pleasures all the time. Just rejoicing with my chelek Elohim, my mission, that I'm a part of this infinite godly agenda, to rejoice with this. So we go through the process of refining our midot, of noticing our personalities, because the Torah, the light, needs to find a vessel, and the vessel must be complete. Or Ein Sof, the infinite light, could only rest in a complete vessel. We know that even a korban, an animal sacrifice that was brought to Beit HaMikdash, if the animal had some kind of mum, some kind of blemish, some kind of imperfection, defect, this animal was rejected as a korban. We're not able to bring it. Because the infinite light, Or Ein Sof, the revelation of the Creator, is complete and perfect and whole. And the vessel that it's looking to rest in must be of the same nature, complete and whole. And therefore we go through our midot, our personalities, because if a person's personality is self-centered, if it's egotistical, if it's a person's personality is just chasing his body's pleasures all day and all night, then he's still a be'emah, he's still an animal. This is not a complete vessel. This vessel cannot receive when the light comes to this vessel, the vessel says, I'm not interested in this stuff. It's not for me. I'm interested in having fun right now. I don't care about these grand agendas that you're talking about that require self-control, require maturity. The vessel rejects the light. So we go through refining the vessels till we get a lev tov. Okay, this is a little bit of Sfirat HaOmer. Now let's talk a little bit about Shavuot. We're getting to Shavuot. And this year is going to be an interesting Shavuot. Many will probably stay home. I don't know, everyone in the world is in a different place now with this corona. Shavuot, the time of Matan Torah, is one of the night of Shavuot is one of the nights that the Zohar Kadosh and the Ari Kadosh brings down. It's a night that we stay up all night awaiting Matan Torah. There's a special tikkun called Tikkun El Shavuot. This is, you buy it in the stores. Recommended to say if you're a person that's easy to say, but if you don't know what you're saying, then we'll talk about that in a minute. But the main thing of Shavuot at night, what the Mekubalim, Sifrei Kabbalah brought down, is not to speak Dvarim Betelim. From the time that Shavuot comes in, from the time the holiday comes in, we go to Bet Knesset and you pray, or you pray home, whatever it is, and then you have the meal. And after that, you study all night till in the morning we go to the mikveh, and then we pray. We're going to break all these things down. The main thing during the night is not to talk, not to use our power of speech for any words or speech that are not Torah. Speech is the power that Hashem gives us, that He creates the world with. Speech is a very, very, very powerful tool that man has. Ironically, we live in a world that doesn't appreciate speech, where the saying says talk is cheap, but really it's not like that. Talk is not cheap at all. Borei Olam creates the world constantly through talk, and a human being that refines his speech will also be at that level to actually create worlds through his speech. So in this night, where we're here to connect ourselves with the Torah, we take the power of speech that we have, which is the power that makes man man, that makes man resemble his creator, and this power we connect it only to the Torah. Only to the Torah. We don't use this strength, we don't put our nefesh into anything that's mundane, that's selfish, we are here to receive the Torah. So it's important for a person this night not to speak any dvarim betelim till Musaf, till after Kriyat Torah and Musaf. And Musaf, and the Chazara of Musaf, say Keter itnu lecha. And in this Keter, there's very tremendous lights that are happening, revelations that are happening, levels of godliness that are coming into the world. When Am Yisrael stands and davens and says this Keter, till after that, a person shouldn't speak at all. They should have their mind and their heart and their focus in the Torah and in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shavuot. So then we stay up. You learn Torah. If a person can't, if they're weak, they're not feeling well, they know they can't, or if they know that they're going to be in a place there's going to be too many people and it's going to be a social scene, then go to sleep or don't be there. It's better to keep the Yirat Shamayim, the mind on the goal, than to get distracted. After a person learns all night, we say the Tikkun Shavuot. If a person could, they could also say Zohar. Person's pure if they went to the mikveh. If a person doesn't know what to learn, one of the best things to learn on all year, but definitely on Shavuot, is Tehillim. Shavuot is also, besides for it being the day of Kabbalat Torah, it's also the day that David HaMelech passed away. And there's a tremendous significance to that. And it's very, very good to say Tehillim on this day. Tehillim is the Nefesh of David. And we know that David HaMelech was the king of Am Yisrael. David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayam. He wasn't only the king when he lived, he's always the king. Mashiach is also going to be David HaMelech. And since he's the king of the nation, the Rambam writes that the king is the heart of the nation. He understands, he contains the nation, he understands the nation. And David HaMelech wrote in Tehillim. Tehillim was not written by him, it was written by 10 tzaddikim, starting from Adam HaRishon, who wrote some Tehillim. Avraham Avinu wrote Tehillim, Moshe Rabbeinu wrote Tehillim, Tfilah Moshe. The sons of Korach wrote Tehillim. But David HaMelech in Ruach HaKodesh compiled these Tehillim, these 150 Tehillim, prayers. And these prayers include anything and everything that a Jew will ever need in all time, even today, us. Since the king is the heart of everyone, that means that in a deep way he understands everyone that will ever be a part of his nation. And therefore it's very, very good in Shavuot to focus on Tehillim, saying Tehillim. When you say Tehillim, it's kedai to say it in Hebrew, in the Lashon that Tehillim was written. If you have time, you could look at the translation, you could read. You don't have to rush through. There's no need to say the whole Tehillim. If you could, if you know what you're saying, it's good. But if not, it's good to open Tehillim and to learn it, to read it, and to see what he's talking about. And there's Mefarshim, and Tehillim is Torah. Tehillim is not only Torah. Tehillim became one of the books of the Torah, but Tehillim is a very unique part of the Torah because we normally have Tfilah, which is the creation upward, going upward and speaking to the Creator and asking Him to heal, to give life, to reveal Himself in the creation, to bless the creation. And then there's Torah. Torah is the Creator speaking to man, speaking to the creation, speaking to the world, directing the world, guiding the world, enlightening the world. These are seemingly in opposite directions. However, Tehillim, which is also part of the Torah, it's a part of the Tanakh. But in essence, Tehillim is all Tfilot. So Tehillim includes Torah and Tfilah in one, every word, in one sefer, in one book. And therefore, this Gula of Tehillim is very, very big, always, all year, especially on Shavuot, because Shavuot is the day that David HaMelech will nistalek. We know that it's Tzaddik, the day that he passes away, that day his power is, we can't imagine. So therefore, it's good to immerse yourself in Tehillim. Also the night, also the day. Another big tzaddik, one of our Rebbe, our leader, Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov was also Yartzeit Shavuot. So it's good to, before Shavuot or on Shavuot, to light some candles for David HaMelech, for the Baal Shem Tov, and to study about their inyanim, the things that they revealed. And in the morning, you go to the mikveh. Now again, this year in quarantine, I don't know what everyone will be able to do. Was mikvehs next to them, what's open, what's not. This mikveh is not a regular mikveh. It's called the mikveh of the 50th gate. We know that the 49 levels of Sfirat HaOmer bring us to the Yom HaChamishim, the 50th gate. This 50th gate is extremely mysterious. It's hard to talk about it. There's a lot, so much to say about it. But when a person goes to the mikveh in that morning, we dip 4 times in the mikveh. Each time we think first Yud, then Hey, then Vav, then Hey. That's the kavanah of the mikveh in a simple way, of the mikveh of Shavuot in the morning. person can't go, if they could go before Shavuot and Erev Shavuot, they know that they won't be able to go to the mikveh, they should go for sure Erev Shavuot, and have in mind that this mikveh should also be for that. Okay, but now I want to talk about our generation, which is really our topic. I'm going to read to you from Rav Tzadok HaKohen. Rav Tzadok HaKohen was a tremendous tzaddik, lived in Lublin in Poland about 150, 180 years ago. And he was a great, great thinker, tremendous thinker, and his books are very, very deep thinking, revolutionary thinking, very deep. And he writes like this: HaTorah והתפילה, שניהם רק למישהו חסר ומבקש השלמה על ידי התפילה או על ידי התורה, שהוא תבלין ליצר הרע או ליישר החיסרון שבלב. Torah and Tefillah, what are they? How do we approach them? How do we approach the Torah? We're in our generation today, where some of us know very, very little Torah. We're living in a generation of very, very big darkness, of multiple generations already, especially the language barriers, the language gaps, people that don't speak any Hebrew. It's very difficult to learn Torah. Every word is it's very special. And a person could think to himself, what do I know about the Torah? I barely know the mitzvot, the halachot. Matan Torah is coming. What am I going to ask Hashem? What is this? So therefore, we're learning what's the condition to receive the Torah. למי שהוא חסר ומבקש השלמה. A person that feels like I'm missing and I'm looking for perfection. You know, there are people that study wisdoms, that study professions, and these wisdoms make them feel great, make them feel powerful, make them feel full of purpose. They're a different person. Before they studied this occupation, this wisdom, whatever it is, they felt unneeded in the world. They didn't know who they were, and suddenly now they feel alive, and it's great. And that's beautiful, but that's not in the Torah. Torah, the more a person learns Torah, the more a person experiences the completion of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his perfection, his being, his mystery. The more Torah you learn, the more you realize how far you are, how distant you are, how as you stare at perfection, you realize, wow, I'm ugly. I'm selfish. I'm self-centered. I'm full of jealousy. I'm full of hatred, full of laziness. We're all full of midot. We don't notice. Everyone loves themselves. But when you stare at perfection, when you get to know perfection, then you start, if you're not scared to look at yourself, then you start realizing, wow. So David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Lulei Toratcha sha'ashu'ai, az avadati be'oni. David HaMelech tells Hashem in Tehillim, if the Torah is not my sha'ashua, if it's not my pleasure, my joy, my involvement, my total love, and I'll be lost in my own poverty. Avadati be'oni. There were generations of great scholars that when Shavuot came, looked forward, they prepared, they studied Torah all year. When Shavuot came, the gates opened, their minds opened, their souls opened, and I'm sure they received. But that's not us. We're generations that are living in darkness and confusion, in exile, so many ways. So many of us don't know the Aleph Bet. So many of us. So many of us we don't even know the names of the Sifrei Torah, of the Nevi'im, of the Ketuvim. We're so far. So that's it. We're so far. They were close, they were lucky, and we're far. The answer is no. This distance that we feel is true. We are far. But this distance is what we're meant to transform into yearning and into davening and into missing a Kadosh Baruch. If there's one thing that we have today, more than any generation before us, is exactly this darkness, this distance, that everyone, when there any honest person that looks at himself knows, wow, I'm far, light years far. As a matter of fact, I'm so far, I have no plan. I don't even know how to get there. How am I gonna? I could almost give up and I'll be right. The answer is you're far. That's perfect. It's perfect. You feel like you're missing, you feel like you're nothing, like you're in the darkness. You feel like here the TORAH is coming down and where am I? I don't even know anything. You feel pain in your heart. That is the perfect attitude to come into Matan Torah. To come to Borei Olam and tell him, Borei Olam, I have no idea how I'm going to get to you. I have no idea who you are. I don't know your language. I don't know your Torah. But from a little bit that I started to taste and feel, I know that you're the truth. And the light is with you, and the Torah is the way of life. And I'm so far, and I have no way and no plan. I have no idea how I'm going to get to you. And feeling these feelings of yearning and wanting and talking about it and asking him and crying to him and begging him. In that sense, I think that our generation is on the top. If you're willing to acknowledge the low place that you're at, and you know you're aware of the infinite rachamim and mercy of the Borei Olam, no one could receive the Torah. No one could, even Moshe Rabbeinu, that went up to Shamayim. He was learning the Torah and forgetting, learning and forgetting. He forgot everything he learned. Till HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to him, the matana. Like it says in the Pasuk, the Torah must be given to a person as a gift. So who gets the gift? Why does one person get it, one person not get it? The question is, who's crying for it? Who wants it? Who feels like their life is nothing without the Torah? An honest person that looks at himself and says, what's my life? I'm going to live and have a family and a life. And at the end, what did I do? Why was I created? What's the purpose? Who am I? What's Am Yisrael? What's this all about? Person that wants it, that's yearning, that's crying, that feels like I need this. Otherwise, my life is meaningless. Look at how many of us, of our brothers or sisters of today, people that have everything in the world, loving parents, careers, money, leave everything. Go to India, go to China, go to Thailand, looking for meaning, spend months on beaches doing LSD. Why? You have everything. No, I have nothing. Because if I don't know who am I and why am I and what's this world, what's this creation, what's going to be the second after I pass away, then maybe I have nothing. And this feeling is a feeling that our generation is full of. The flip side of this is absolute depression and giving up. When a person realizes, wow, I'm so far and I can never make it, they could just give up. But that second, instead of giving up, realize you're far, you have no idea what to do. Perfect, perfect. Ask him and scream to him and cry to him and tell him, I have no way to get to you. I have no way to get to perfection. And my life's going down the drain. I'm going to spend my life doing nothing, doing physical, making money, going on vacations, and then what? And then what? Please help me. Please open up my eyes. Send me something. I don't know what. I have no idea what to even ask for. But I want your help. I need your Torah. I realize that without that, my life is nothing. And this is something that we could all do. And we should do, especially on Shavuot. Take time at night to take some quiet corner and just speak to the Baruch Olam, tell him, just, I'm a Jew and I have no idea who I am and who you are and what the Jew. Talk to him about your place. Just, he knows who you are. He's creating you. Just tell him, ask him for mercy, for rachamim. So you're giving the Torah now. He took a nation out of Mitzrayim. Believe me, when Am Yisrael left Mitzrayim, they were in a similar place to where we are today. They were sunk in generations, hundreds of years of involvement and deep involvement in the Egyptian culture of idol worship. Horrible culture where there was no rules. And they knew nothing. And this is something that we could do in our generation. So let's take this. And on Shavuot, at any time, take time to be by yourself, speak to the Baruch Olam, and tell him, cry to him. You want to be a part of the nation, of Am Yisrael, the whole nation, wherever you are. You're sitting in Mexico on some porch. You're not alone. Because right now, every Jew in the world is sitting, thinking the same thing, involved in the same thing, getting ready to receive the Torah, everyone in their way. Am Yisrael is one. Even though we're in different bodies all over the planet, we're one. We're all doing the same thing all the time. It's amazing. We all face Yerushalayim every day, 3 times a day, wherever we are, and say the same words. The same words that David HaMelech said, the Baal Shem Tov said, the Baba Sali said, everyone. We're one nation. So on Shavuot, when you're sitting, remember, Am Yisrael right now, the nation, we can't sleep. We're excited, we're up at night. We know that in the morning, Bo'olam is going to give the souls, the worlds, he's going to reveal Torah. And every year he reveals the Torah. Because the Torah, even though it's the same Torah, but every year is different and renewed according to what the generations are going through and the people are going through. In every generation, the Torah uncovers new explanations that weren't known before, based on what that generation needs. So this year, the Bo'olam is going to bless all the Jewish souls with new Torah, with new information, with new inspiration that we need in order to live in 2020. And who's going to receive it? A person that feels like I'm not worthy, like I have nothing, but I want the light for free. And I'm going to talk, and I'm going to ask, and I'm going to cry. And I'm going to ask about not just for myself, for my brothers, for my sisters, for Am Yisrael. And this, like we said, we're doing very well because we're drowning in darkness. We're drowning in meaninglessness and stupidity and TV shows and emptiness and Facebook and Instagram and emptiness. It's so easy for us to feel, wow. So B'ezrat Hashem, let's gather our nefashot, gather ourselves. Let's complete these days that we have left till Matan Torah. Let's build in our heart a big expectation, anticipating, awaiting the Borei Olam, and realizing that I don't have to be anything. If I just notice the truth that I'm far, that I have no way of getting to God, no way of getting to God, I have no idea, I don't know, I'm so far. I'm so far, sometimes a person is lost. And that they remember the direction home, but they just don't have strength. Sometimes a person is so lost that they forgot the way home. And there's some people that are so lost that forgot that they're even lost. They think everything's okay. So if we remember that we're lost and remember that we have no way to get home and only He could help us, and we cry to Him, He's going to help us. This is, I rather focus on one aspect to keep it simple. So we're going to end this concept here. One more concept that we'll talk about, and anyone could also use this as a meditation. You could meditate now or whenever. A person once came to Rav Nachman of Breslov, and he told him that he wants his skula to remember the Torah. He studies, but he wants a good memory. He wants to understand the Torah. Nachman of Breslov told him, love every Jew with all your heart. Focus on loving every Jew. What's the connection? We know Am Yisrael, the word Yisrael stands for Rashi Tevot, and you could take a word and make it into Yesh Shishim Ribo Otiyot LaTorah. Yesh Yud Shishim Shin Ribo Reish Otiyot Aleph LaTorah Lamed Israel. There are 600,000 letters in Torah. That's what this statement means. Yesh Shishim Ribo. There's Shishim is 60. Ribo is 10,000. There are 60 10,000s. It means 600,000 letters in the Torah. Why is this phrase? Why is this truth alluded to in the name Israel? Because every Jew is one letter in the Torah. And we know that if Sefer Torah is missing one letter, the Sefer Torah is all pasul. It's not one letter. So if you want the Torah, if you want to have a real relationship with the Torah, all the letters have to shine and they all have to be strong. So when you love every Jew, you're loving all the letters of the Torah. And maybe the Torah is whole, it's complete in your heart and your mind, and therefore you remember it. So therefore we know that on the day that Am Yisrael came to Har Sinai, it says in the Pasuk, Vayichan Sham Yisrael Neged Ahar. Am Yisrael parked parallel to Har Sinai, Vayichan. And this word, it should say Vayachanu. It's a plural, speaking about the nation. They rested, not he rested. Why it says Vayichan, which means he rested. He is a singular. We know the Gemara teaches, our Rashi brings, Mufashim, Midrashim, Ki ish echad belev echad. There was a unity, there was a feeling and a level of unity between the Jews as if there was one heart. This has to do with Sfirat HaOmer, like we said, Sfirat HaOmer is Lev Tov. It's everyone refining their heart from the selfishness, from the selfish behavior and attitude. This is very good as we approach Shavuot to prepare ourselves with Ahavat Yisrael. To make room in our heart, to love really every single Jew, everyone that we know and everyone that we don't know. The truth is, like we know that Tanya teaches us in Perek Lamed Bet, and we spoke about this, but something you have to speak about your whole life, that Am Yisrael is really one soul. We say in the Tefillah, Ata Echad, Shimcha Echad, Mika Amcha Yisrael Goy Echad. Am Yisrael is one nation. Right now, the way the world is and the way the processes of how the worlds have to be fixed, it's necessary for this one soul to come down to many, many, many bodies. Each body is connected to, responsible for one aspect of the soul, of lighting the soul. But together, we're one army. A soldier that has his own agenda in mind, he's not in the army. the army is one agenda. This is something that we could do now as a preparation for Matan Torah. And really the neshama of Sfirat Omer is really all about this, is getting out of your selfish little animal tiny thinking and understanding that you're part of a grand nation with a grand mission. Our king is the creator of all the worlds, the only one that was and will be ever. We're his people, we're his nation. Like he told us today, today, the second day of Sivan, is called Yom HaMiyuchas, very special day where the Borei Olam, the creator, addressed his nation and he told them, Atem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. You are going to be li, like the same way a man gives a woman a ring, says, Areat mekudeshet li. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us, says, Atem tiyu li, mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. To make room in our heart, to accept everyone, start with people around you. Ironically, sometimes it's easier to love people further away, but really the opposite is more necessary, to love my friends, my family, my wife, my kids, to focus on loving them, the people around me in my minyan, in my community, in my city, in my country, and then eventually in the whole entire world. We're just one people, one nation. To make room in my heart, to identify with them, to feel everyone, to pray for them, to want their success, to want the success of every individual, because the success of every individual Jew is really the success of the team. And this mitzvah, ve'ahavta l'rarecha kamocha, this type of thinking and making room in our heart, forgiving people, is an excellent preparation for Matan Torah as well. Okay, we'll stop here. Two things is already good. If there's any questions, maybe we could do some questions now.
Amazing. Okay, so if someone has any questions, they can unmute themselves and start their video and ask Rav Avshi. I think it was very clear. Someone has any questions? Rav, if we cannot get to a mikveh, can we do Ezra mikveh?
Yeah. Could you go to the mikveh before Shavuot?
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. There's also a famous washing the hands that you could do. Mm-hmm. But do what you normally do.
Okay. Amazing.
Amazing, Yeshua. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining, and Yiratzon that we should enter the Shavuot with a new look, with a deep look, with a real look, and we should receive the Torah, and really our life should be different after Shavuot. If we should have some new influence, some new gift, some new light in our life that will really upgrade us and bring us to self-fulfillment.
Thank you so much, Rav.
Oh, Yitzchak.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rav. Amazing.
Oh, Moshe. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem to everyone. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much, Rav.
Thank you, Rav.
Yes. Oh, Rabbi Avram. Shalom Aleichem, everyone. Amazing. I'm Sharem.
How are you, Rav?
Amazing. Very nice, clever. Thank you. Any questions? Once we're on the Zoom, feel free. Even if it's a topic that's related or not, if it's important, feel free to ask.
I want to ask you something, Rav.
Yes.
What's so special with saying Tehillim?
Saying Tehillim?
What's so special?
Okay, so like I said, Tehillim is prayers that were written, the Gemara says, by 10 tzaddikim. Adam HaRishon wrote Mizmor Shir Le'Yom HaShabbat, Moshe Rabbeinu wrote Tehillim, Avraham Avinu wrote Tehillim. Like we said, David HaMelech compiled all these Tehillim in the Ruach HaKodesh and made them into one book. And I'll tell you what we said before, just repeat it, that David HaMelech is the king of Am Yisrael. David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayam, which means that he contains with him the whole nation. He understands the nation, the needs of the nation. He's the king. What's a king? A king is not a selfish person. A king is a person that leads his people. David HaMelech, before he was a king, he was a shepherd, taking care of every sheep. And David HaMelech didn't just take care of his generation. David HaMelech saw, Hashem gave him in the Ruach HaKodesh to see all the generations till the end of time. And he compiled all the prayers that every individual may need in every case, whether it's cases of gratitude, whether it's cases that he needs something. A person doesn't necessarily know how to speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So David HaMelech compiled all these amazing ways of a human speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu into one book. And this is our legacy forever and ever. That whenever a person says Tehillim, they could suddenly find their own requests, what they want to tell Hashem in the Tehillim.
Okay. Thank you.
You understand? Okay, so that's a look. You see, all of the tefillah is just Tehillim. Sukkah de Zimra is Tehillim, Hallel is Tehillim. Everything is Tehillim. It's good to say Tehillim in a way that, I don't know if the Hebrew is good, but try to say Tehillim, and when you find yourself in the Tehillim, stay there. Like say a person's going through a difficult time, let's say, for example, and they open a Tehillim where David HaMelech is crying to Hashem for help. So this fits perfect with their life. They say this Tehillim, and they realize how a human should be addressing his Creator, asking him for help. Help me, I need your help, I'm poor. You see, we see these words in Tehillim, the right attitude that I should have towards the Borei Olam. So the Tehillim teaches us how to speak to Borei Olam in any condition. There's no Jew that can't find himself in Tehillim. Whether it's a time of praise, or it's a communal issue, a private issue, if you focus on Tehillim, you'll open up all the channels between you and the Borei Olam.
הבנתי. תודה.
Amazing, Rav.
Okay, my friends. Yes,
Sounding good. Good.
okay.
Everything clear.
Everyone should have a Chag Shavuot Sameach, Matan Torah B'Simcha. And you should know when Hashem gives the Torah, He doesn't just give the books, everything, the Kabbalah, everything is Torah. It means that every year, HaKadosh Baruch Hu right now is giving us, the sun is going to shine. How much light does everyone receive? It depends on how, if you open the windows, if you're indoors, if you're downstairs, it depends where you are. But the light is shining. The Torah Hashem is giving this year is a new Torah, it's a new light. And the more we prepare ourselves, the more we come to Him honestly with our heart, the more we'll walk out of there full. Because He's Ein Sof, He wants to give us infinite. The level of how much we'll receive will only depend on how much we prepared our vessels. That's the only thing that's going to happen. And this is by doing the mitzvot of Shavuot, the minhagim of Shavuot, doing all this right, and putting in our heart inside.
Awesome.
Everyone should have a happy receiving the Torah.
חג שמח, הרב.
Chag Sameach. And you should know another thing, that these 3 days before Matan Torah were days that Am Yisrael were preparing very strongly to receive the Torah. And we know that when the Torah was given, HaKadosh Baruch Hu healed every Jew. That means that there were no blind, there was no mute. Anyone that had any physical issue was healed. But these days also have a lot of healing powers in them. These are days that a person should focus on healing his relationship with God, between Ben Adam LaMakom and Ben Adam LaChavero. Also forgiving people, and like I said, these 2 preparations, coming to God with a heart of I need you, and without you, I'm just darkness, I'm lost. But really, really coming to that, and trying as much as I can to heal my relationships with everyone around me, loving everyone and forgiving everyone, and really just letting go and becoming Ish Echad Belev Echad, becoming that unity, because the real vessel that could receive the Torah is not me. It's only when the whole nation is together that we could receive the totality of the Torah. So the more, even if I'm just myself, I'm great, I'm a big scholar, it doesn't make a difference. But if I'm not a part of Am Yisrael, of the nation, then the Torah can't be fully received. Chag Sameach, my friends. Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach.
All the best.